If you are or if you aren't familiar with Trump's inauguration coming up today, a lot of hip hop artists have kind of ironically, or maybe not ironically, at least the Snoop one is kind of ironic, I guess, maybe, depending on the details around it, are performing at Trump-related events. Nelly, most notably, will be performing at the official Trump thing later today. And he's made a statement about it. But yeah, let's check this out.
We have to talk about Uncle Snoopy Dogg. Snoopy Dogg and his recent choices. They're a black eye for unks everywhere. This is the Open Mike Eagle YouTube channel. And ever since I became older than my barbers, I officially got my unk membership card in the mail. So I'm going to use this platform to speak for all unks in my congressional district. As an aside, I have a daydream. It's not as good as Martin Luther King's dream. It's an indie rap kind of dream. I have a dream of Unkfest. After I saw that footage of Red and Meth performing at Summer Jam last year, I had this idea that I think it can change the world. It's called Unkfest. I would curate it. The bill would look like this. It'd have Busta Rhymes and Red and Meth and Erykah Badu and Common. And since I'm doing it, it would have people like Arm & Hammer and Freestyle Fellowship and Kool Keith. If you like this idea, give me $1. You might not get it back, but
go donate. Join his Patreon. Shouts to Open Mike Eagle. Mike's cool people. Very nice guy. Super talented artist. Extremely funny. So if you're not familiar, he's been really growing his YouTube channel recently. He's joined the Culture United stuff as well with the Company Man and them. I think he's been on a couple of them.
Uncle Snoopy Dogg is officially no longer invited to Unkfest. He could have slid right there into the bill, but now he's no longer invited because he's busy anyway. His booking card is all booked up. He's booked and busy. He's doing the Trump inaugural crypto ball.
And I guess he did do this because this was January 17th, I believe.
As an aside, I first heard of Uncle Snoopy Dogg when I was like 11 years old. There was this Lawrence Fishburne movie for adults called Deep Cover. And Dr. Andre from Neighbors with Attitude made a song that was the title track for the soundtrack of Deep Cover. Very creatively called Deep Cover. And he had this skinny, young man that sounded like Smooth B from Nice and Smooth with him, and that was Snoopy Dogg. My main memory from this song, aside from it being the first time I heard of Uncle Snoopy Dogg, was that I had a younger cousin who was staying with us that summer at our house. She was like 8, and she got in a lot of trouble because she was repeating the lyrics. She was 8 years old, and she said, 187 on an uncovered cop. And she got a whooping, but she got whoopings all the time because she was an asshole. You fast forward to 2025, Snoop is the world's most famous unk. He's king of the unks. He gets to smoke weed at the Olympics. He gets to switch between being Jamaican and Californian at will. And he can transform into a Doberman sometimes. He can transform into all kinds of dogs. If he got caught doing something, he could transform into a Greyhound and run away. If he got caught doing something bad, he could transform into a Labrador and give America those big old googly eyes. And they would probably forgive him. America loves dogs. Who could blame Uncle Snoopy Dogg for thinking he could get away with anything? There comes a time in any famous unk's life where he has to ask himself, is the bag worth the reputation hit? And apparently in this instance, Uncle Snoopy Dogg got an offer for which he decided to drop his values like they were hot. Let's take a look at this here.
This is just bars riddled out there, by the way, in case you're following along or not.
This crypto ball. You can't see it very well here, but it's real little. It says, in honor of the inauguration of Donald J. Trump.
So yeah, this was Friday, and I believe Mike's going to talk about it here probably, but tickets for this were like $2,500. Yeah, this is interesting, right?
And then there's a bunch of cursive. People don't know how to read cursive no more. I still kind of do. It says Crypto Ball, Friday, January 17th, Washington, D.C., 8 p.m. General admission. Look at this. General admission. You can't read it, but it says right here, $2,500 for general admission. And then I saw on this other.
So this kind of suggests that it was a super private event.
page here. $100,000 tickets. Those are for the VIP. So $2,500 general admission and $100,000 for VIP and a $1 million package with private dinner. So this is the Open Mike Eagle indie rap channel for grown-ups. And occasionally you'll hear from an indie rapper on the indie rap Open Mike Eagle channel. You'll hear these industry secrets. In this case, the industry secret is a secret, but it's also a theory. I have an idea in my mind how this may have happened. Because remember, Snoopy Dogg once said this about people performing for the inauguration.
Go out there and do a country song. So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh?
Somebody will.
Which one of you jigaboo ass niggas gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the fuck out one of you Uncle Tom ass niggas for doing it. Which one of you niggas gonna do it first? Osby's the one that performs for himself.
So this is going to bring up a lot of conversation around, you know, like bag watching. If there is ever a good time to take a bag as a hip hop artist from person who aligns himself with white supremacy like Donald Trump, the hypocrisy, but also the argument that I don't like a lot of times when it comes around to this stuff is a lot of times we're super critical of stuff about people that we don't like. Like it's easy to talk greasy about Kid Rock. You know, it's easy to talk about, you know, who's, you know, a huge culture vulture. But at the same time, like sometimes people like Snoop get a pass, and I feel like and other artists will get a pass. Like I feel like Snoop would get more of a pass than Soulja Boy would. There's something to be said about like Snoop doesn't need to do this. Like he's a rich ass dude. Like he can do whatever he wants. He can stand on his business and it's not really going to affect him at all. So why would he cross the line? Or not even necessarily cross the line, but why would he do this? Like, you know, like there's no reason to come out and support the shit show that is about to take over the United States for the next 4 years.
He's an unk, so he had that extra little bit at the end where he recorded for too long and started putting his phone up before he stopped the video. It's a very unk thing to do. But how do you go from that? How do you go from that to this? I have a theory. I don't know how accurate it is, but this is my speculation. See, rappers sometimes they get offered to do these things called corporate events. And corporate events, much like college events, tend to overpay the performer.
Facts.
But you learn when you do a couple of them that they're actually overpaying you for the psychological hazard. Performing at corporate events can be awful. Usually you're performing for a bunch of people who just did cocaine. Like they just did cocaine. They did cocaine 10 minutes ago. And for the next hour or 90 minutes, not only do they think that they own you, they also think that they're your best friend. And they're also sweaty and talking really loud and fast. Sometimes while you're trying to rap, it can be psychologically harrowing. So I believe that they understand that they have to pay people many more times than what they usually get to perform at these events. But the other thing that happens with these corporate events is that they're oftentimes secret. They are.
Both those things are true. The one other thing that I'll say about corporate events is that a lot of times it's people that just want to look cool. You know, like it's somebody's like, yeah, what's some cool stuff that we can do? We can bring this person in, you know, even from like the DJ perspective, like, you know, I'm involved in, I work at a DJ school. I teach there too, but I work at a DJ school and we do bookings and stuff. And the corporate events are definitely something that get charged a little bit more than, you know, just something from somebody we know or different types of events, because a lot of times it's not an event that is generally fun. It's usually, I don't know. There's lots to it. Mike pretty much covered it though. And I'm not a DJ. I'm just speaking from secondhand experience from helping on the back end of a lot of these events and having a lot of DJ friends that do corporate events. They do pay better, but yeah.
They're private. They are not advertised. So it's very likely in this instance that in attempting to book Uncle Snoopy Dogg for this event, that they went through a website. Maybe a website like this. Cost to hire Snoop Dogg for a private event. Book Snoop Dogg for a private event. Request a quote. Minimum cost $355,000. Maximum cost $514,000. This might not even be a real way to book Snoop Dogg, but it could be. It very well could be. Or this one, Celebrity Talent International, celebrity booking agent to hire performers and speakers for any event. These are real websites. These are real ways that people with a lot of money figure out how to book people for these sorts of events. Now, remember, this event has $2,500 general admission tickets and $100,000 VIP tickets, which means
It's crazy.
they have a lot of money to pay Uncle Snoop.
Like, what do you get for the VIP? Do you get like a meal? Like, do you get to shake Trump's hand or something? Is he going to be there? Like, is he even going to be there? I don't know.
Dogg. And it's very likely that the organizers of this event sent an email to
Do you get some Dogecoin?
Snoopy Dogg booking
Snoopy Dogg
at
booking.
snoopydogg.gov and tried to book Snoopy Dogg for this event. They may have said, we have $10 million to book Uncle Snoopy Dogg for the crypto ball. It may or may not have said anything expressly to do with the Trump inauguration. And if
That's possible. That's possible. But at the same time, you'd probably think that at the same time, like, Snoop's people would know, like, once you inquire further.
If you're a member of Team Snoopy Dogg management, you have to do a little bit of a risk assessment. And it basically all boils down to one question. Is anybody going to hear about this? And typically the answer with these type of events is no.
Yeah, but this is a Trump event, pre-inauguration, and he's already he's a hot name. And Snoop is a big name. People are going to talk about it.
But then after you've agreed to this and they've gone back and forth with negotiations and locked in all these details and everything's all booked, they can turn around. Surprise! Even Honda driving, rent paying indie rappers like myself sometimes have to make these sorts of assessments. Like I said, I've done corporate gigs. I've done college gigs. They're typically private. They usually come with a psychological hazard, but that's why you get paid a bunch more. So maybe this is what happened. Maybe Team Snoopy Dogg's management took a risk assessment and thought, nobody will hear about this, and it'll be $10 more million in our coffers, right? Maybe that's what happened. Or it's there right there in the subject line, $10 million for a Snoop event. Also happens to be a Trump inaugural celebration, not an official one, right? Like, this is not an official inauguration event. It's a bunch of crypto bros getting together and doing a fundraiser in honor of the inauguration of Trump. Trump's not going to be there, etc., this, that. They might have been very forward about the Trump Association, but also saying that it's not an official inauguration event. I do think that's one of the details that a lot of people are missing. But
I think there's another detail as well, which is this. Back in 2001, Snoop Dogg thanked Trump for pardoning Death Row Records co-founder Harry O, Michael Harris. Kind of makes you wonder, like, maybe this was a solid for that. I don't know. But at the same time, like, I kind of want to look deeper. Like, was Trump at the crypto ball? Was he there? He did a Bob Marley song. Well, it looks like he was there. Why every single time I see a Trump clip, he's either doing like, can we retire the God Bless America song? Can we retire that song? I'm proud to be an American. I'm so tired of that song. I'm so tired of Republicans doing this like fist bump dance every time it comes on. Like, so let's see what he did here. Oh, look, there's the Trump fist bump. YMCA was probably playing when they snapped that picture. They actually have footage of it. Whoa, hold up. Looks like he's DJing himself, which means that he probably was like, let me just get in, do this thing, bring this little Newmark joint. What is that? Or is that a Pioneer? It's a Pioneer, yeah. Bring his little CDJ in, do his little thing, make his $500,000 to $1 million. I don't know, man. I don't know. Carefree Snoop in Washington, nothing but a jean chain. Okay, hanging out. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I guess the bag's big enough, right? Was it Mike that said? Was it Mike or I think it might have been Mike that I've seen so much content in the last like however long, but I believe it was Mike that said there should be no more rich rappers or something. Like I kind of agree with that sentiment. I don't know. Let's go back to this and see what else we got here.
Again, that's on Team Snoopy Dogg's team to do a risk assessment to see if people are going to be enterprising enough to actually dig through the details and see what it is or isn't. It is associated with a celebration of the inauguration of Trump, but it itself is not an official inauguration event. But
that is important, though. I mean, that is important because if you look at social media at all, everybody's like, well, Trump is Snoop's performing at the official blah, 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 blah. It's not. It was like a pre-party.
There's a price.
Subtle difference. Subtle, mind you. And there's crypto involved, too.
To go against his values that he just stated in a video where he was calling people jigaboos and Uncle Toms. And maybe they hit his number. It's possible that for him and Richard Ross, who hustles every day, and Whoa Nelly, for whom it is hot in here, maybe their numbers got hit. And maybe they did a risk assessment and said that the bag in this case is worth the hit to their reputation, which just folds back into my theory that rich people just probably shouldn't rap anymore. They just probably shouldn't do it. As an aside, I did not listen to the Dr. Andre and Snoopy Dogg rap album.
But yeah, I mean, the idea behind rich people should rap anymore is because they're so out of touch. Mike is so deadpan sometimes it's hard to understand if he's being super sarcastic and serious or just super sarcastic. But I always feel like there's a little bit of truth in everything that he says. But like, I just don't understand how you can like align yourself with white supremacy. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I just don't understand how you can do that. And it would be a little bit different if. And I saw this argument made last night when I was in and out of the Culture United stream a little bit too, but I 100% agree with it. Like I would feel less conflicted about this in general if it was like an artist where it wasn't somebody like Snoop who like has plenty of money. Like he has the power within him. Like Snoop is one of the most well-known, if not the most well-known rap artist ever. Hip-hop artist ever, just with his face, his likeness, all this stuff that he does. He doesn't need to do this event. You know, like, he doesn't need to do it. It'd be different if, like, somebody that Mike said, like, Arm & Hammer or, you know, an independent artist, or even somebody like Mike or anybody like that I know, like, I would look at it differently if an independent artist who I knew didn't have the money backing in the same manner that like a Snoop does went out and did something like this. I wouldn't agree with it, but I can understand the thought process around, you know, like everything that Mike kind of said here around like, is anybody going to see this event? Can I get in? Can I get out? Like I can understand that a little bit more as a working creative artist, as I am one myself, when it's hard enough for us to just exist anyways in this space. And sometimes you have to capitalize off of the opportunities that you get. But even still, this isn't one of those ones that I would do. It just isn't. So, but then when I look at the names on the of the people that did it, like Snoop was really realistically was the only one that was kind of surprising. Like Nelly, you know. And then when his justification, I think he went on, I think it was Willie D's. I think he had a conversation with Willie D. I read an article about him and he doubled down on it. He was like, no, you know, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? And I'm not doing it for money. Okay. That makes it kind of worse. But Soulja Boy, like, I'm not surprised. Rick Ross, I'm not surprised. You know what I mean? But Snoop, I was a little bit surprised on that one.
I didn't because there were condoms. That was the album art. It was called Missionary and there were condoms. When I saw condoms and the album titled Missionary and Snoopy Dogg and Dr. Andre, I got the distinct impression that they may be rapping about their old penises and what they do with them. And I didn't have any room for that in my life. So maybe
That's
Snoopy
fair.
Dogg rapping for Trump is the result of not enough people listening to old man penis rap. And I have to be prepared to pay that cost over and over again. Because to me, what it leads to, the idea it leads to, is maybe rich people should only rap for other rich people. And they can pay $100,000 to go hear old man penis rap in the privacy of their own ballrooms and just leave the rest of us alone.
I actually kind of like that idea too, but don't come back and forth. I feel like if you do that, you got to stay there. You got to stay there. Shouts to Mike on this. I really, really enjoyed this video. Very insightful, very clever. So make sure you check out his other content. And it looks like his Dark Comedy 10th Anniversary Edition limited vinyl is out. So let's see what else we got here. I booked Mike years ago. I don't even know if he remembers, but it was here in Indianapolis. It was him, Homeboy Sandman, and Mega Ran. I've ended up booking a couple other shows with Mega Ran since. And he was here, I think last summer, went out to a show that he was out and I was able to catch up with him a little bit. But I think that was one of the only hip hop shows that I've thrown here in Indianapolis to where like we didn't lose money and I was able to pay them more. I think I made $25 off the show. You know what I mean? That was awesome. But typically speaking in Indianapolis, when you do stuff that's a little bit more indie, it just struggles here. So, but I got a tape from him, and I was just going through my tapes, like right before I left to go out of the country pretty recently, and when I was moving, actually it was when I got back, and I was moving stuff around, and I had like I had one of his tapes. I think it was Dark Comedy actually. But then again, if it's been 10 years, was that when we? Anyways, shouts to Mike. He's got some really cool stuff. Definitely check out his YouTube channel as well. Open_Mike_Eagle.